Okay, what's going on, guys, and welcome to a brand new episode of Energized. Ross, introduce the guest, man.
Things are off again a lot funnier here. We have the Joker, Jack Hermansson, UFC Middleweight. Jack, how are you doing?
I'm great, my man. All good here. How are you guys doing?
Really good. Really good. What about you, Barry?
I'm doing good. Obviously, my mustache isn't as good as yours, but who knows? We'll get there someday. Isn't that right, Jack?
Yeah, you're getting there. I need a couple more years. I thought that I would get a little bit more hair growth now when I'm over 30, but it ain't coming, man.
It must be the weather in Norway.
Maybe over 40, when I round 40.
It must be the weather in Norway, Jack.
I think so.
So, Jack, if we were speaking to you this time last week, it would be a totally different conversation altogether.
Oh, yeah.
You were going to have one of the biggest fights of your career. I think you would have been third headline in 4 fights, but you're still headline against Darren Till. But when did you find out Till was out of the fight?
I think it was Friday that I got the call. But yeah, Darren has injured himself and he's off. So I was devastated. I was really looking forward to that fight so much. I've been visualizing every single day, and suddenly it's not going to happen. So yeah, that was a tough thing to hear, but yeah, at least I have a fight booked, so I'm happy with that.
Exactly.
And you're still the main event, isn't that correct?
Yep. Still the main event. Yeah.
You deserve it as well. And now you're fighting Kevin Holland. Very, very game. He looked very, very good in his last fight. What are your thoughts on Kevin Holland?
He's a good up-and-comer, and he's on a big win streak right now. He has been looking really, really good, and he's an interesting character as well. So I think people enjoy watching his fights because he talks a lot, and he's a funny character. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. And as a fighter, he looks well-rounded, and yeah, he looks game.
Didn't he call out Israel Adesanya after his last fight?
Yeah, a little bit early, maybe, but
yeah,
yeah, it's good to start the beef, already now. So
it was very strange beef because Kevin Holland was saying that he was watching Adesanya dance to his opponent's walkout music, and then he did dance to his music, and that annoyed him. I've never heard of such a silly thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't have been offended by that, but yeah, that's all right.
Uh-huh.
Jack, tell us, how do you see the middleweight division at the moment? Adesanya's talking about moving up to fight Jan. You also have Robert Whittaker. Sort of when he beat Cannonier, people were saying he's the #1 contender, and now we have yourself against Kevin Holland here. You're yet to get your crack at that belt as well. Where do you see the middleweight division in terms of who's next in line and where it goes from here?
Yeah, it's a crazy division because I think the top 10 is so good, and everybody's fighting each other, and there's nobody besides Adesanya that really sticks out because everybody's beating everybody, and of course Whittaker has been sticking out as well. But I feel like everybody in this division can beat each other because everybody's so good. But right now, with Whittaker's win over Cannonier, he has two good wins in a row against Till and Cannonier. So it's all right. He could get the next shot. But at the same time, I know that Adesanya isn't super excited about that fight. And who is the next guy? He already fought Costa and Romero. So I think it's my turn. I'm right up there. I'm ranked number 4. And I beat Calvin Gastelum in my last fight. Before that, I have a loss, but before that, I had a great win streak as well. So I think I'm definitely one of the hottest names, and I should be fighting for the title next year.
I definitely think with your ground game. Sorry, Baz, do you want to go in?
No, I was going to say, remember we were watching Jack's fight against Calvin Gastelum, man. The finish was so quick, we couldn't believe it. We were like, right, this is the real deal. And then your fight against Till was going to be, if you had won that impressively, you were definitely in line for the title shot. So when we heard that when it fell off, as fight fans, that was really disappointing because if I actually had to throw my hat into it, I actually would have thought you'd be the favorite just because your ground game as well. But Yeah, no, but I saw you're on, I think you're on with Ariel, and like you actually had the blueprint on how you're going to get to the titles. So this is obviously a spanner in the works.
Yeah, it sucks a little bit in that way, but at the same time, people know what I've been doing in the past,
Yeah.
and all of my wins, all of my first round victories that I have, and I think that people, even though Holland isn't in the rankings, people respect him. He's on a big win streak, and I think that impressive win over him still shows that I'm a great fighter, and really solidify my position there at the top of the division. So even though I don't climb in the rankings, my credibility still gets bigger, I think.
Yeah, because Ross, we always mention Kevin Holland's fights as well on the card, even though, like, you know what I mean? So, like, he's obviously a name to look out for.
Absolutely. Ever since he was on Contender Series, he sort of burst onto the scene, and he must see one way or the other whether he wins or loses. And this will be his 5th fight this year, so that boy stays active. He's also like quite a high-level striker, which sort of stays. Now, he doesn't actually have a similar fight style to Till. The way he stands and stuff is a bit different, but at least you're still going up against a striker, and then I suppose it will prepare you in time for Adesanya as well. Facing these high-level strikers, but one thing I must say, Jack, is I love when the fights go to the ground. I know some fans aren't as keen on it, but I think your ground game is absolutely phenomenal. Your ground and pound, and then if the submission presents itself, you're there. And sometimes I'm even watching you. I think it was against Brad Scott, and I was like, "Geez, the referee let that keep going." And there was one or two other ones where I was like, the ref actually could have given your man an easier out there, but
the ref was enjoying it.
Pressure.
The ref was enjoying it.
He was a fan. He was like, I get to stay in here longer.
Front row seats. They're not cheap.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And I take great pride in that. When I get to the ground, it's really dangerous for my opponent. I'm not just going to lay on top of them or anything like that. I have 5 first-round victories now in the UFC. And it's when I get people to the ground, they are in danger, and you can expect a finish. So thank you so much for saying that. I really appreciate that. So.
It was the Talis Loites fight. That was the other one where I was like, oh, the ref should have maybe given him a break. But that's what makes you so exciting against Adesanya as well. You know what I mean? It's that striker versus grappler. The only thing I will say about that is I think your striking is probably somewhat closer to his striking than his grappling is to your grappling. His grappling is sort of an unknown quantity in the UFC.
Yeah, I agree there because, everything, like in the striking, it's such a dynamic game, and anything can happen there, right? But in the grappling, if you're like a level above your opponent in the grappling, you're gonna exploit that when you get them down to the ground, because it goes a little bit slower there, and as long as it's not too slippery, I'm gonna be able to take advantage of that. And I also believe that is making me against Adesanya a exciting matchup, because I don't believe that he has fought any grappler on my level yet. So that would be very interesting to see.
Jack, how big is like MMA, or even how big is MMA in Norway as well? Because like obviously football would be massive where you're from. How did you even get into mixed martial arts?
MMA is not huge here, but it's growing, and the UFC is big. People are watching the UFC.
Yeah.
But basically, there is a lot of gyms, but I think my gym, where Frontline Academy, is where there is the biggest concentration of professional fighters in the country. So, and we are still not loads, but we are a few. I came into MMA. I'm from Sweden, so I lived in Sweden before, and I moved to Norway. And I was just doing wrestling, and in my teens, I found MMA on YouTube, and I just fell in love with it. I love martial arts since I was a kid, and when I found this sport where I was actually trying to find out who the best fighter is, no matter which style you come from, I just knew that this is what I've been looking for. I was always wondering who is gonna win, if a boxer fights a wrestler, or a kung fu guy, or whatever. And suddenly I have this sport of my dreams. So I just needed to try out the sport, and with my wrestling background, I did pretty well. And what now I'm ranked number 4 in the world. So it's been a good travel.
Speaking of sort of the Scandinavian mixed martial arts background, now he's not actually from Scandinavia, but he does train over in Sweden. What's your take on Kazmat Chimaev, and how do you think he will fare out in his pursuit for welterweight and middleweight gold?
He's good. He's really good, actually, and I think that he's a good all-round fighter. But I still feel like most of us that we need to see a little bit more against the high-level guys, right? And now he has a great opportunity to show what he got. He's gonna fight Leon Edwards.
Yeah.
And that's gonna be a super exciting fight. And I believe that after that fight, we will know a little bit more about Khamzat and where his level is at, and what he can do. So I think it's still a little bit early to predict, but I do predict a bright future for him. Is he gonna be the double champ? I'm not sure. That's very ambitious, but
that is very ambitious, to be fair.
But I like his his passion, and he's always available to fight, and he will fight anyone, anywhere, and that's super cool. It's refreshing, and I understand why the fans love the guy.
Yeah, I think it's like MMA fans. When someone gets a bit hot, and then everyone sort of pushes them on forward, the way like Sean O'Malley was, and then now it's like Kazmat. It's just entertaining as fans, and it brings like a broader audience in. So like the flavor of the month is definitely like Khamzat, but no, him against Leon Edwards would be pretty good. What do you sort of expect from that fight? Because I'm like myself and Ross are like absolutely buzzing for that fight. Like
it's gonna be, it's gonna be interesting. I think that Leon can really he can really shock the fans with how good his wrestling is and how good his ground game is. And I believe that Khamzat can shock the fans with how good his stand-up is. So I think people are really up for a treat in that one, and I really believe that right now I think people see it like, all right, it's Khamzat wrestling against Leon Edwards striking, but I really believe that those two guys match up well in all the areas, especially like Leon has really good wrestling and jiu-jitsu, and Khamzat has really good striking. So I think it's gonna be a really good fight, and I'm gonna do any predictions, but I think it's gonna be a treat.
Yeah, you'll be watching live. Come here. Who is more of an inspiration to you? Is it Zlatan Ibrahimovic or Ole Gunnar Solskjaer?
Who was the second one?
Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, the manager of Manchester United.
Oh man, I didn't know who that was even. So I gotta say Zlatan, of course. My fellow Swede. And I don't know much about football, but I do know that Zlatan is great, and he has a cool personality to go with that. And I also know that he has a martial arts background in Taekwondo. So Zlatan is the man for sure, and he also comes from a very poor part of Sweden, and he shows that it doesn't matter what background you have. So you can always succeed and follow your dreams. So Zlatan.
Yeah, and he's still going strong. Ross.
Yeah, exactly.
Ross, do you want to bring it back to the middleweight division before we wrap things up?
Yeah, of course. So, Jack, obviously 5th of December, yourself versus Kevin Holland. What's the game plan here? Is it to take it down to the ground, or do you want to sort of test the waters with the striking against someone who is dangerous like Kevin Holland, and see how you get on there?
I'm always preparing for a mixed fight, and it just happens to be that I finish guys on the ground because I believe that's where I have a bigger advantage amongst over the most of the guys. But I really train the striking probably more than I train the grappling, and I'm a game striker as well. And the fight starts on the feet. So if I connect well, I'm gonna make sure to follow up and end the fight in the stand up as well. So we'll see. If I need to take him down, I'll do that as well. But I'm looking forward to a mixed battle.
Yeah.
And will you have a few words for Israel Adesanya after the victory in the octagon?
My words to Israel Adesanya.
Yeah, will you have a few words for him afterwards? Will you call him out?
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm ready for a challenge. He needs to step up against the best grappler in the division, the best ground and pound in the division. I believe that's the biggest challenge he has actually. Is probably me. I think he wants it, and I think the fans wants it as well. So sometime next year, I'm going to be fighting for the title.
Yeah, are you going to work on your dance moves in preparation for that fight?
It's something I'm not going to do is to have a dance-off with Adesanya, because I will lose that one.
But no, Yoel Romero won. He's 0-1 in dance-offs.
Oh, that's true, actually. That is actually true.
That backflip.
Yeah.
Jack, I think next year is going to be huge for you, because like obviously we don't want to count the chickens before they hatch, but I think like this matchup is this is a good one for you. I think next year there is some serious fights lined up, be it Till, be it Whittaker, be it Adesanya. They're like, it's going to be very, very interesting. Did you just get married this year as well?
No, not married yet. I have a girl since 8 years back, but I haven't showed her the ring yet. So
that's fine. That's fine. Myself and Ross will be able to make the wedding then. So I was just making sure. Ross, anything else to say before we wrap it up? You don't want to hold Jack up too much,
Yeah, Jack, don't tell your missus to watch this video, because you'll get loads of questions for a start. But Jack, absolute pleasure. Must say, absolute massive fan right here. Especially when you actually went there with beat Jack Ray, I was like, right, this fella's elite. And ever since, we've been cheering you on. Even though we actually both like Kevin Holland, you probably heard us say that, we talk about him all the time. But now, I always try to stick with European fighters, and Jack will be cheering you on. Two Joker fans right here.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate it. So thank you for having me on the show.
Brilliant, Jack.
No worries.
All right, so that was Jack Hermansson. If you are new to the show, make sure to like and subscribe, because we're here every week. And Ross, also before the show, which is actually disappointing that we didn't hit record, Jack actually did compliment the mustache. Myself and Ross are actually doing Movember this month, so I'll put the link down in the bio. I need to get rid of the shit in my face. But Ross, that was good crack having Jack on, wasn't it?
Man, he was buzzing off the show. He really was. He loved it. And I must say, I know I said it on the show with him on it, but when he beat Jack Ray Seals, I was like, that guy's a contender. He's not just another name in this division. And he's really proven to be so as well. And he is a dangerous opponent for Adesanya to have to fight.
I say him and Whittaker were just so interesting,
Yeah, well, he said it himself. I'm not too sure on what show, but I remember watching it. I think it was actually on Submission Radio. They're two Australian fellas. They're
good anyway.
Yeah, and he was on that show, and he was saying that he actually thinks Whittaker is the hardest matchup in the division for him.
Yeah.
So when someone says that, it shows he has a great deal of respect for that person, and I think everyone in the division respects Whittaker. I think some people think Adesanya is a bit of a joker, and I'm sure they respect his skill, but they might not like him as a person.
Yeah.
Robert Whittaker is probably the most likable person in the middleweight division, if not maybe the UFC.
Definitely, yeah. Remember we met him, we still talk about it to this day. Actually, it's been 3 years since we were at UFC 217 as well.
Yeah, he's like the middleweight Max Holloway.
Yeah.
So he won GQ best man in the world or something, didn't he?
Yeah, he's won
best man in
like
Australia. Yeah, he was on the cover of GQ magazine anyway.
So you're saying Whittaker is like who?
He's like the middleweight version of Max Holloway.
Yeah,
like, everyone loves Max Holloway.
And then Jack Hermansson's he's a bit like Wonder Boy. He's just so like
nice.
Appreciative. Yeah, he is very nice. But yeah, like obviously, like after Jack fight takes on Kevin Holland, the Till or Whittaker, he's gonna have to be one of them to get the title shot as well. And like who knows?
One thing I want to bring up Jack, but I didn't get a chance to, was what do you think of these guys who are like fighting like 5 times in a year? Because I only looked at there when Bobby Green was fighting. I was like, I think he's fought a lot, and then like he fought June, August, September, October. I was like, that's unbelievable. And then if I pull up Kevin Holland, I have him here somewhere. I think he fought. This be his 5th fight this year. He fought in. Tell you now. He fought in May, August, September, October, and they will fight in December. I'm just reading off fights.
Yeah, maybe they signed some sort of shitty contract and they're trying to like get out of it as quick as possible to move up and pay.
Well, that's a very good point.
Yeah.
But,
and like, if you're fresh, you're fresh, and you're only relevant when you're there. You know.
Exactly. If you're trying to make a name for yourself, I mean, being on TV every week helps.
Yeah, well, that's the problem that Leon Edwards is having. That's why it was good to actually bring it up about Kazma and not smile too much, because like everyone who tunes in knows how much we're like dying to see him fight, and obviously we've had Leon on the show.
We're driving the Kazma hype train. I'm driving it as the conductor checking for tickets.
Yeah, but like this is what it's all about. Like following MMA is like when there is some sort of hype, like hype it up and then just get people excited. It's the same for everything. Like hyping up cards, and then when you watch the cards and what happens is all part of the fun, really, isn't it?
Yeah, but one thing that has affected the middleweight division was this weekend. I feel weird calling it not UFC Brazil. I felt like it was UFC Brazil, but obviously it was in Vegas. Obviously, Adesanya's trying to fight Jan Blachowicz, but we have a new number 1 contender at 205 pounds. Glover Teixeira, I really thought he was going to get knocked out twice, I think, in the fight, but it was almost, I'm not going to compare Glover to Khabib, but it was like when Khabib got Gaethje down, it was like game over for Gaethje, and when Glover got Santos down, it was game over for Santos. And he just proved that, like, at 41, there's still some dog left in the or fight left in the dog, should I say?
Yeah, like Thiago Santos was out for 500 days. What did he do? Like towards MCL, ACL, like everything
in both knees. I think
in both knees. Like
he has to learn how to walk again.
Like I bet on Thiago Santos to win just because of just how much of an animal he is, and then like comparing them physically, which you should never really do. But Glover Teixeira gets the win. Like he's over 40. Like you know yourself, Dana doesn't like contenders being over the age of 40 unless you're like Yoel Romero possibly. But where does Glover Teixeira go with this? Because now he's sort of stuck at the door without the key, because like Adesanya versus Jan is definitely going to happen. Like the champ thing with Adesanya will blow him up even more
against Polish power.
Yeah.
If I was Glover Teixeira and Dana White guaranteed him a title shot, I'd sit out because at 41, the risk of taking another fight, you might not get it. The only thing with Glover could be if he actually wins the belt, he might retire that night.
Did you hear Steve-O in the press conference after asking questions? He loves MMA. During lockdown, I tried to get him on the show. Like we couldn't get like any response back, but like I tried. But he was telling Glover that he should sit it out and wait for a title shot, and it just seems so funny because Steve-O says like you can tell he's sort of new. Yeah, but you can tell he's sort of new to mixed martial arts. Like I mean, he was on his podcast,
who knows?
Steps and stuff.
Maybe Glover could be the alternate for that. He could be the guy who makes weight. Although, like, if Jan Blachowicz like pulls out or something last minute, or like has a positive COVID test, and it's like Glover versus Adesanya, I don't think I'm like unreal lads.
Yeah, no, Dana will come up with something different to that.
Or maybe have two alternatives. Maybe you have someone a bit sexier than Jan Blachowicz, and then
maybe it depends on when Adesanya versus Jan happens. When do you foresee that happening? Like February?
Well, the earliest it can happen is February, because it's not going to be on the McGregor card.
Yeah. Well, then maybe that's just that. Maybe that's long enough. I don't know.
Well, let me put it this way: it's not like
Glover.
It's not like Glover Teixeira was churning out fights 5 fights a year. I mean, he only fights twice a year anyway. So I'm sure if they were like, right, April, you can have a title shot. Fine.
Yeah, but just even the way when we put the poll up, like usually you can tell how interested people are by the fights by how many people vote, and not many people voted for Glover to win. So when you look at that, then it doesn't really make for a great, like, very intriguing.
Yeah, but also as you say, the eye test when you put the two people up in the picture, you go, who's going to win? It's like your man who's like has like 2 grandkids, or that fella who looks like he's never left the gym.
What's that stone? What's that tattoo? He has a picture of like a big hammer.
Yeah, Thor's hammer.
Thor's hammer.
Yeah, but look, serious win by Glover. Very impressive.
Yeah.
Weathered the storm and everything.
Yeah.
Always a fan. And then shout out to the pit bull Andrei Arlovsky. They say you can't teach an old dog new tricks, but like I was seeing head kicks and spinning back fists and everything from him. He's a man who like is not going away and seems to actually be getting better, which is crazy to think. Because like he was a UFC heavyweight champion in 2005. I mean, like 15 years later, and he's still doing the damn thing.
Yeah, and that fight almost seemed he was lined up to lose, because like you were saying yourself, Tanner Bowser with the mullet is someone to watch out for in the heavyweight division. Yeah,
he definitely is, and I still think he is. I thought it was like a close fight, and I thought Bowser was like good with the leg kicks, but I suppose he almost stepped up a level in terms of like fighting such a veteran and such like the ring generalship from Arlovsky or something else. I'd actually like to see Arlovsky fight Greg Hardy next.
Greg Hardy's getting talked about a lot now as well.
Yeah, well, he's after he won against the Crochet Balls in his last fight, and I think just like why not? I think schedule-wise they match up well.
Yeah, I'll be up for that as well. Is there anyone else you want to give a shout out to as well?
Well, your mate Claudia Gadelia lost.
Yeah,
probably devastated over that, were
you? I know you on Yan Jianan. She beat like Angela Hill. She beat Karolina Kolkapevich. Like she was flying high, and then Claudia wasn't really at all. I think like Claudia sort of like peaked, and she's on her way down, sort of.
Although, man, think that like if you told me 2 years ago for the strawweight title, it's going to be 2 Chinese people fighting each other for the belt, I would have been like, there's not even 2 Chinese people in strawweight. There you go. You know what I mean? Now we have it. Also, shout out to Alexander Romanov, the heavyweight, just because I don't know if you saw this or not, but he started body slamming his coaches after he won. I just thought that was funny. I was like, that's sort of that could be his version of the shoey.
Yeah, no, I thought that was pretty good. But Ross, like, there is a UFC card on this week again. When was the last time we had a week off the UFC? Not that I want one, but like, just like, it's
it's actually a funny one because you know that fight came, like I was sitting there on Thursday going, which fight is actually happening this weekend? I was like, oh yeah, Glover versus Santos. I didn't actually, I couldn't remember. And then this week I was like, who's fighting this weekend? I was like, oh yeah, Makhachev versus RDA. Although I feel like that was like very much so last minute main event put together. They were like, right, that's going to be the main event, that card.
Yeah.
But now obviously Islam Makhachev has pulled out of this card. We didn't really get told why. I suppose it's the undisclosed injury, but very late in the day to find a replacement. And if they don't find a replacement, who will headline this card, Basim?
I don't know, you're a fan of Abdul Razak Al Hassan. Well, Reece McKee should obviously headline the card. What are you talking about? Like?
Yeah, true, why not? But I'm actually sort of looking at it and I was like, there's not actually 2 people who are headliners, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And they're not really going to mix and match, are they? They're not going to, would they?
Like, without trying to be rude or discredit fighters, it's closer with Dana White Contender Series fight card than it is anything else.
Wasn't Sean Strickland's on the card against Brendan Allen? Isn't Sean Strickland not fighting there a couple of weeks ago?
He fought Jack Marshman.
There is
Eric Anders fighting on the card. He's not bad. Well, he's entertaining anyway.
Do you think who do you think they give a shout to? Bobby Green.
Well, maybe actually RDA versus Bobby Green. That could work. Yeah, Bobby Green's fighting every month, so like you might want to get this month in, but it's hard to really sort of pinpoint someone like that's who he's going to fight.
Yeah, it's very, very last minute. Like, and the RDA on a full training camp, like he was setting up to fight Islam Makhachev. Like you can tell he was definitely sparring hard. You know, like he's definitely peaking this week.
Yeah, the only thing I would say is that on Dana White's Contender Series, I'm pretty sure Daniel Rodriguez, who fights at welterweight, he beat Tim Means so far, and then he beat Dwight Grant there, and his opponent pulled out as well. So unless RDA moves back up to welterweight and fights a welterweight, that could be an option if RDA wants to stay on the card. And I think UFC needs him to stay on the card to actually get people to watch.
Yeah. Is there anyone else in the card we should look out for, Ross? Because as you said, there's not too many names in it. But like massive shout out to Reese McKee fighting this week.
Yeah. I really hope he turns around for himself, and he puts, you know, all I care is he puts on the performance that he deserves to put on and that he's proud of. You know what I mean?
Definitely, man.
He's an absolute warrior. So like he definitely drew a short end of the stick. Like I don't think many people would actually have fought. Put it this way, no one would fight Kazman on 4 or 5 days notice now. No one who Kazman is. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
And like not even be in the organization.
No.
It's like you can see the phone call now. It's like, hello. It's like, yeah, we have 5 for you. Or something at the UFC. It's like, who's against Kazman? I go, oh, sorry, the signal's a bit bad here. Hang up. So yeah, I think at the end of the day, look, I don't actually already care about this event bar watching Reese McKee fight. So
I know.
Shout out to Reese.
Is that right to say? Is that right to say or wrong to say?
Well, it's probably wrong to say, and like at the end of the day, sometimes those cards end up being brilliant cards to watch the actual standard of fights themselves. But there's no one here drawing me to be like they're the next person. Although I do like Abdul Razak Al Hassan, and he's fighting a fella called Chaos. So like I'm excited to see what Chaos looks like.
Take one guess.
It was a bit like Colby Covington.
That's pretty solid. Also, for some reason, Johnny always talks about Louis Smoker. He's like one of the curtain jerkers.
He is, yeah. Well, he headlined Dublin, so that's always a decent way of thing. And he's actually fighting your man Quinos. He lost Sean O'Malley, didn't he? That's who Sean O'Malley knocked out.
Is he? Yeah.
I think in his
it is.
in his proper UFC debut.
Yeah, you can't miss that mustache. But yeah, obviously that card is not amazing, but it can't be amazing every week.
Give us some Bellator news there, Basmo.
Yeah, like Bellator was on over the week. It was on last Thursday, and Corey Anderson defeated Melvin Manhoef. Like this was just written, like everyone knew this was going to happen. Manhoef's been fighting since before you were even born, probably, or me including as well. But our good mate Austin Vanderford, he's have to go on 10-0 as well. Ross, he said he would come on the show. But like we're gonna have to sort of organize that. I was just thinking, right, Austin Vanderford, like obviously he's married to Paige Van Zandt, and I was like, imagine he was younger, right, and he was told that like he was going to become a professional fighter, and that his wife would be a bare knuckle fighter. Doesn't that just sound so weird? Say if you're like professional, it's like bare knuckle fighter. Is it?
It's you probably think he lived in a trailer park, to be honest.
Yeah, like in Hickville.
Yeah, but no, shout out to Austin. Do you think Corey Anderson did enough to get a light heavyweight title shot against Nemkov?
No.
No?
I think he needs to win one more big fight.
Yeah, although Ryan Bader would hold a lot of weight in Bellator, and I wonder would he want a rematch as well? Because if he does, he'll probably get it. Yeah. Oh, one last thing I wanted to ask you: did you see Kevin Lee's new tattoo?
No, I heard someone talking about it, and I didn't actually see it in the end.
So he's basically got like this part of his hair, the like crown.
Okay, yeah, go again. Yeah.
This part of his hair here is like his hair.
Yeah.
And then from here all along is all tattooed, and like it looks like a sort of Star Wars thing. Get your phone out there and look it on Instagram if you have it.
I'll do it after. Not while we're live, you know.
It's bizarre. Man, sometimes it's okay to look live at your phone because at the end of the day, the big dogs do it. You know, Brendan Chapp is always on his phone there as he as he's talking away, and he does a show by himself, which is very impressive to multitask like that. Us lads aren't the best at that. Have you got any comments on your
Jesus
mustache?
Christ.
But there you go, see?
What? I'm going to have to show this on camera.
Yeah, it's mad, isn't it? You can't really describe that. That's perfect, yeah.
For people on YouTube, make sure to check that out. And on Spotify. And make sure to like and subscribe. We're nearly on 1,000 subscribers. But Jesus, I wasn't expecting that. But
yeah, I wasn't like he just got like some random tattoo. Like his whole head is like tattoo.
That's commitment.
I feel like his head's not in the game if he's doing that. I feel like he's like trying to become a celeb.
Maybe, yeah. He lost his sort of big fights, and I mean, do you know what? Like the passing of his coach and stuff. I'm just, like, I would say like that guidance that he's looking for. You can't really find it. Maybe, who knows? But like I feel like only he will know. Everyone's always learning. Like even there yesterday, I was just like, what the like. In life, I'm like hoping things happen and other things don't, and nothing's in your control, literally.
No.
You wake up tomorrow and one of your relatives is COVID, like it just even something like that. But
also, some breaking news: Amanda Nunes is out of her title fight at UFC 256, so she's not fighting Megan Anderson. So I think she pulled out. So I think that might mean Peter Yan is headlining against Aljamain Sterling. We're actually like mates with Peter Yan's boxing coach. We might get him on for that.
Yeah, him and Peter, that'd be cool. Because I don't think Peter speaks English. But,
yeah, we got them together.
Ross, this Thursday, yeah, definitely. This Thursday, Bellator is back. Pedro Carvalho is taking on Patricio Pitbull in the featherweight Grand Prix quarterfinal for the title, Ross. We've had Pedro on during lockdown.
I think he was like our 5th or 6th guest over like 40 guests in a row.
The Portuguese Irishman. Remember his dog was going 90 in the background for ages, and I was like, Ross, will you tell that dog to get out? And Pedro was like, it's my dog. I was like, will you tell your dog to get out?
One thing I will say is that he's also a big fan of the crazy socks. So like, I like my socks. I actually have a like funky pair here. I'm wearing them, but like, look at that.
Well, tie-dye?
I think so. I think there's like.
Were they just sitting there, or did you just pull that off your foot?
No, like I took them off mid-interview because my feet got warm and like I have tiles underneath and like they're cold, so I was like, that's grand. No, TMI for people. But,
no, I pulled it off my cock. But Ross, what are you expecting from that? Like, this is something Pedro's been working towards his whole life. He moved around from Portugal. Like, imagine being able to go back to Portugal with a belt. Like, you'd be like, look, I did it.
I have to say it, like, he looked very, very good in his last fight. And, SBG Ireland, like, their fighters under 155 or 170 and below are, like, quite stacked. So, therefore, he's training with very, very elite guys. So, I wouldn't be surprised to see him go in there and get the job done. We'll definitely be back him. And,
the height difference is massive. 5'5" versus 5'9".
Yeah, true as well. He'll have that reach on him. So I think he can get it done. I'm gonna definitely be watching and I'll definitely be supporting him. But look, the funny thing is in those Bellator tournaments, being champion is almost a disadvantage because like everyone has their eye on you and like everyone brings their absolute A game as opposed to when you're the challenger. I mean, I'm sure as champion you're probably looking down the line of who your lineage is, like how many top challengers you have to beat. But no one's looked at Pedro Carvalho throughout this tournament, so I think that's an advantage for him.
Yeah, Pitbull's also the champ as well. This is be huge for Pedro. For him, I hope he wins it, and like I just love to see what will happen maybe around Dublin. Do you think anything will happen around Dublin? Because like Bellator is pretty big here, and obviously.
I just don't know if enough Irish people see him as Irish yet, if you know what I mean. Yeah. That's the only thing I would say. But like Fibsborough's own Pedro Carvalho.
Yeah. I'm buzzing for that. Ross, another fight in the card, right? Yaroslav Amosov is taking on Logan Storty. 24-0 against 11-0. Someone's O has to go.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And another American wrestler versus like a Russian wrestler. So I'll be very, very interested to see how that goes down. I think Yaroslav is who I'd pick to win that fight. But at the end of the day, you never know. And sometimes I do feel like Bellator has more upsets and bizarre finishes, I think, than UFC does. So it'd be interesting to see. But those guys, neither of them are far off challenging Lima for the belt.
Also, Aaron Pico's on the undercard as well. And
man, he's always fighting, isn't he?
Yeah, and then there's Crony Gracie's on the card as well. It's a tough one. Like obviously we're backing Pedro in Bellator and Reese in the UFC, but what card is the better card is the question.
I definitely think Bellator is a better card because you also have Daniel Weichel versus Manuel Sanchez, and that's also in the featherweight Grand Prix as well. So when you look at that compared to the UFC card that still doesn't have a main event,
is the title fight that steals of you?
I actually just think it's the caliber of fighters this time around, to be honest. Okay. If I was brutally honest about it, that's what sort of get me to watch it.
Okay. Then, like, if you've nothing else to say about Bellator, the Queen of Ireland, Katie Taylor, is back this Saturday, 14th November. She's taking on Miriam Gutierrez, who's 13-0, so she's undefeated. Katie Taylor's 16-0. Ross, like, how much do people love checking out Katie Taylor fighting, like, and actually watching her fight? Because one of the hearts of an absolute lioness.
Look, she's the pride of Ireland. She really is. Like, everyone absolutely loves watching the Katie Taylor fight. And you know, they're back in a big arena for her as well. They're back in Wembley, I think, isn't it? The Wembley Arena.
No, I'm too sure.
Or was it York Hall? Like, I'm pretty sure they put it somewhere. Put it this way: it's not in Eddie Hall's back garden.
Eddie Hall.
Or Eddie. Sorry, not Eddie Hall.
Eddie Hall's a strongman,
isn't he? Yeah, he has a big back garden as well, actually.
Yeah, he is loaded.
His gaff is massive. He's massive on YouTube. I didn't realise how big he was on YouTube until I watched him one day. I think a tour of his gaff.
Yeah, I think it's because he does like bodybuilder eats this amount of food, and everyone's like, "Fucking hell, how can you eat that whole dog?"
He also tries to challenge other world records. I saw him there. He was trying to do a shot put, and I was like, I reckon he'd be quite good. And then he was absolutely shit.
Yeah.
So,
do you think he still meant to fight Thor? So the winner of Thor and Eddie Hall could fight the winner of Tyson Roy Jones Jr.
Maybe we should get him on, Eddie Hall.
I'm pretty sure I reached out to him as well. I think there was no one reached out to. But Ross, Katie Taylor, that's the one person I'm looking forward to seeing this weekend.
Yeah, exactly. And Miriam Gutierrez, she's 13 now. Just don't know much about her, but I'll be interested to see how she gets on.
Yeah.
Hold on. Gutierrez has never fought outside Spain, so that'll be a new interesting bout for her. I expect, just looking at her record and people she's fought, she looks like she hasn't touched anyone on Katie Taylor's level. So I expect Katie to go in there and run roughshod on her, to be honest. Yeah,
there's also a few things that are going on this week. On Thursday, England playing Ireland in the football. Friday, Ireland are playing Wales in the rugby. And then obviously Saturday, Katie Taylor's fighting, Reece McKee's fighting, and Pedro's fighting on the Thursday. And then Wales are playing.
Plenty of channel swapping there.
Yeah, then Wales are playing Ireland as well in the football on Sunday. So Premier League's on a break. The rugby's back on this week.
The lads will be going on a mad one in their own gaff.
Yeah, everyone will be going on a bleeding mad one. I'm buzzing for this weekend, man. Things are really heating up. Christmas coming up soon. Also, we're doing. Yeah, I just want to re-mention the Movember stuff as well. I've actually been so busy. I haven't been able to make myself look as fresh as.
Yeah, you know what? If I'm being brutally honest, and I think you always can, especially when you get 15 minutes of a show, because I always feel like if someone's listening to 50 minutes, I don't know if you feel the same, but I actually feel terrible asking people for money.
Yeah.
For the just with the current situation. Also, did you see there was a fella from Drumcondra who went for a run and he fell over and hit his head and then he died, and he's like the #1 donated page of Movember in the world.
Was that after he died?
No, well, he died in the middle of November. He only died 2 or 3 days ago.
Yeah, but what did he? Was he already the most
Oh no. After you do it, everyone donated.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. All right. Okay, okay, that confirms it. But here, Ross, I didn't hear that. That's really that's disappointing here, obviously.
I was like, because I didn't know what happened to him. I was for a solid 2 days. I was like, who is this guy and why is he like all over my newsfeed? I thought like he was. I was like, at first I thought he was doing some outrageous challenge and like everyone was like following him.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, he actually died. I was like, just that's terribly sad.
Yeah, but Ross, like we did actually make a team. You set the target for €500, but now we're on €264. So like we're over halfway through, and like it only really gets good in the second half of the month, doesn't it?
Yeah, when your mustache looks like mine.
Yeah, but here I need to give a shout out to a couple of lads because I tried to tag them on Instagram, but like I couldn't find it. It's not that easy when you type in a name; it doesn't automatically pop up. But like, shout out to Alex Watt, he's after raising €150, and shout out to Gary Lynch, he's on €49. Kev Crow is on €20. Shane Hart here says 0, but like I don't know if he put money in because like myself and Ross says 0 for us as well. But don't wait to the link. I put in 20.
Yeah, if you donate to the team, it's different.
Yeah, I put in 20, you put in 25. I'm sure we'll do more at the end, and like we'll be annoying our own relatives. We'll get Chris to give in all that gym money as well.
Yeah.
But like Ross, like before we wrap things up, how's life going now at the moment? Like obviously you're after moving now.
Yeah, I've got a new crib. Like there's the kitchen. There's my drinks cabinet. That one has like 2 drinks in that bottom. So I'm waiting for Barry to keep my house warm. So 2
bottles of water in that yoke, is it?
No, it'll give me the other UFC glove. And then I'll have 2.
Yeah, but like, before we wrap things up, like how things now, like obviously in November, like we're doing it to raise money because like you know what I mean, like as much as like we care about our own lives and mental health, we care about other people's stuff as well, and that's why we do this show. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, like I just like to think that we're providing a bit of entertainment for people, and we got a great reaction to the Kieran Clark show last week, so hopefully get going this week. And you know, just when we get good reactions like that, it makes it worthwhile doing the show. You know what I mean? It makes me enjoy doing the show a lot more, and to know that you're providing that bit of entertainment. Because like sometimes I think like sometimes you look at the views sometimes, and sometimes somebody like, oh, that's not a lot of views, or you might say that is a lot of views, but just say the podcast an hour long and 300 people listen to it. I mean, that's 300 hours of like listening.
That's only on YouTube. It got loads of downloads on Spotify as well.
Yeah, well, no, I'm just saying in general. You know what I mean? It's a lot. Just like sometimes with the Instagram, like we have like just shy of like 12,000 followers on Instagram, and then sometimes you think that's loads, but then you see someone with like 100,000 Instagram followers, and you think that's not. But then you also go, hold on. If you put 12,000 people in front of you, you'd be like, that's a lot. Yeah. So when you have to look at everything in perspective.
Yeah. Well, like we were flying high. We were doing like the live show with Wonderboy Thompson just before lockdown and stuff as well. So the things are sort of warped. But like, you know, I mean, once we'll be allowed, like you saw Pfizer that they're about to come out with the
vaccine.
The vaccine. So like, who knows? They're like, as soon as we'll be able to get credentials to go to some events, whether it be Bellator or Cage Warriors or UFC, like obviously if it was in Europe, like
I think they're giving you the best live coverage.
Yeah, I think once we're going to be able to go in and around the events more, we'll be like, right, we're back up and running again. You know what I mean? And then maybe you'll be able to curl that mustache rather than curling the biceps.
Instead of biceps.
curl the mustache. But here, Ross, that's the show for the week. We'll be back again next weekend discussing all the latest crack. We're going to have another guest as well. We're going to we'll sort out another one. Obviously, this show came out a bit late because Jack could only do the even time, but that's the way we roll. You know what I mean? Energized. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, and as always,
stay energized.